Okay guys, just wanted to do a quick video on how to build a nice 4x8 enclosure with minimal tools, minimal cutting, and it'll be a really nice enclosure when it's done. This is literally a full sheet 4x8 plywood. The top is full sheet 4x8 plywood. This cage is sitting on its side, and then you literally just put a 2x4 in every corner lengthwise, and those are all 8 feet long, so you're not cutting those. And then we have a nice divider down at 4 feet, so you'll match your sheeting as well, so you don't need to cut those. Then we have another one 3 feet from this edge, because our door that I already had made is 3 feet wide. And then we're just going to add some casters down here to the bottom of this. Then I can tip this up, and we're literally just going to sheet it on all the sides. We don't even have to cut those sheets. So the next video I put up will just be me sheeting this thing up. Keep feeding. Okay, this is part 2. Normally when you have a cage sitting flat on the ground, obviously most of your weight's being carried by the framing, and it's all just pushing down flat, so you're not going to get sagging in the center. But if you are doing something like this where you want casters on the bottom, because we want to be able to roll this thing around, make sure you put casters on all 4 corners, and then you put some towards the center, because that is where you're going to get the sagging. So you want to pinch them closer together to get more weight distributed towards the center. Also, before you stand this up, it's a good idea to put the sheeting on the sides, and that'll keep it rigid so you can stand it up on the casters. So now we're ready to stand this thing up. We didn't have to cut the walls or anything. Those are full sheets as well. They've just been screwed on both sides. We'll stand this up and continue to sheet it. Okay guys, so this is only about an hour's worth of work. Obviously we put the sides on, then I stood the cage up. It's on the casters, and then I just sheeted the front and 2 sheets on the back. A little tip for you guys: if you're trying to set the sheets on here and you're working by yourself, just lift the cage up and throw a 2x4 underneath it on its edge, and then you can set the sheet down on it, and it works out really well. And then obviously we have the 2 sheets in the back, and we can walk right into this enclosure. And I mean, this literally took me an hour, and I haven't made a single saw cut of anything. So no plywood, no 2x4s, no nothing yet. And this door was already built, so this door will go on right there. And then what I'll probably end up doing is filling in just a short section with PVC sheet so they can't push dirt out, and then the rest will be screen, so they'll have a nice vent. Pretty cool. Keep feeding. Okay guys, and that's pretty much it. I mean, look at that. That's a 4 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot tall box to hold an animal in. You have your 3 foot by 6 foot tall Lexan door on hinges. All the PVC sheeting, the floor and the roof are 3/4 inch plywood or thicker if you can. The thicker the better. It'll withstand and hold up a lot better. We have the casters, and then obviously the venting, which helped me out. And then I just added that small piece down there. I literally cut that 2x4 and that 2x4, snipped up the screen with some dikes, and then we have our door and we have a box. And this is really all you need. And then you put all your cool stuff inside of it and make your house a home. There's nothing spectacular about how I built these cages. It's all the stuff I put inside of them. So keep that in mind and keep feeding. So guys, I ended up actually splitting this cage in half for my application, because it was just more efficient for what I needed it for. So it's still the same exact build, except I just took I had a couple of those doors that you saw in the first 4 videos, so I just shortened them up to 4 feet tall, and then added a shelf inside the enclosures. And then also, obviously, I added lighting and all the good stuff that goes in here, so we'll run over all that stuff real quick. So all of this bedding is just pure cypress mulch bedding. These guys have already ruined their water bowl as of this morning, so thank you to them. And I added just a simple shelf with some stone on top, and then I had some heat light fixtures, some heat bars, I guess you could call them, that I built a while back out of some mild steel. So those are all lit up with ceramic bulbs heating the entire enclosure. And then we obviously have our UV on this side. In this particular setup, this is actually a heat emitting UV. And it's just got some simple stuff in it. So this is literally all you need to have a happy, healthy monitor lizard. And then these tubs, I didn't do plumbing on any of these tubs. I found with the smaller tubs, it's just so much easier to just carry them out and dump them and be able to wash them out and not have to try to like spray the poop past the bulkhead fitting that goes to the plumbing in the bottom drain. It's just, I don't know. I'd rather just carry the damn thing. I'm not a little guy, so it doesn't. I don't mind having to dump these 2 water tubs, considering I get to, not have to dump any of this stuff. These are just the only 2 that I have to dump. So we can check the upper section of this enclosure too. And it's basically set up the exact same way. So I just added an extra height in here, and we have a taller or a larger water monitor in this one, but it's the same exact basic setup. So just a stone up there, which will give you a little bit of a heat range for the animal, and then the brick up there, which will give them a heat range for the animal, allow the animal to get a little bit closer to the ceramics, and then obviously the tile, which will stay a good, nice, constant temperature. Those ceramic bulbs never shut off. They are on 24 hours a day. And then these are off 10 hours and on 14 hours. All of the lights just mimic Indonesia. And a top tip for you, if you're gonna put like a floor divider in the enclosures, do sections. So you'll see this has a seam here, there's another seam here. These are all actually sections. I believe they're 1.5 foot sections all the way through. And that will allow you to just swap out sections. So if you have a 4x8 sheet and you shove it in here, it becomes a big pain when some of the floor starts to sag or you want to replace some of it. You end up having to tear like the entire enclosure apart. If you just do sections, you can literally just unscrew this section and replace that section. Also, you little crazy turd, what are you doing? Also, if you decide you have an animal in here and you want them to be able to use the entire enclosure, you literally just take out one of the sections somewhere and they can crawl right through, now through the entire enclosure. So keep that in mind when you're building all this stuff. There is a much easier way to set yourself up for success down the road. To be honest, this enclosure is very, very, very basic, and you do not need anything that is crazy. You just don't. The lizards really don't give a shit. They'd rather have your attention and your love and clean water and good food, and they'll be happy as a clam. So they don't really care that much. So it's not about the outsides, it's about what's inside that counts, right? Right, buddy? I know. He always thinks when I come in here that he's going to get fed. You're not getting fed, turd. All you do is eat. All you do is eat. This is Yohi. He's actually the world's first scientifically proven parthenogenic water monitor. So he's a really good guy. As long as he knows he's not getting fed, he's really, really nice. But that's pretty much it, guys. You just put in the lighting, get all that stuff squared away, get your lighting on a timer, make sure your heat's on 24/7, and make sure you have some decent ventilation in the top and the bottom. I shortened up the ventilation on the lower cage because we wanted to keep the humidity a little higher down there. And the ventilation up top is pretty decent, plus with the gap up top, there's some more ventilation up there as well. And actually the big swamp cooler ends up blowing a little bit of air into that enclosure too, so we actually kick the heat up in that enclosure more than the lower enclosure. So just keep all that stuff in mind. Real basic build, came out really nice. It's been working really, really well since we did it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out and you can build some stuff for yourself. Super basic. I hardly had to cut anything. Really cool. Keep feeding.